Okay, we're back, and we're heading into depths, and hopefully finishing out the game. I see that we're immediately faced with quite a greeting party, so let's go right back up and take these guys out a small chunk at a time. Probably gonna passage. Put a little bit of space between me and these guys. Oops. Not that I'm too concerned about deep trolls at this point, but all things being equal, I would rather that iron trolls are not next to me. These guys are also a bit of a problem. I guess we'll be fine. Mostly fire. Okay. It's not strictly necessary for me to pog away from these guys, probably, but they do enough damage that it certainly doesn't hurt for me to do it, you know. I foresee us simply tabbing through most of the things in depths. I mean, look at our resistances, they're really awesome. Lacking our neg and our core, but those are certainly not necessary, and we can swap on a little bit of our neg. Never found any swappable our core, unfortunately. But no need to take a ton of risks. We may as well pog away from these things. Probably should have heroismed. Now I have to stair dance. That's okay. We have quite a stockpile of haste now, by the way. Thanks to finesse, we really haven't had to use haste at all this game. I think we used maybe one potion, maybe two, throughout the whole run. So as you can see, we're going to have what I hope will be a very easy ascent. Not to count my chickens before they hatch. Unfortunately, disjunction hasn't spawned and neither has displacement, so this translocations training is kind of going to waste a bit. Once we get into Zot. And it looks like Blink did spawn, so we should go memorize that once we're going into Zot. In fact, we probably should have memorized it already. There are situations where you'd want to use Blink over Pog. Not a lot of them, but they do exist. And we just tab through all these Tingus, really just slaughtering these guys. Not too much that's going to cause us problems anymore. It's just sort of a rote kind of O-tab experience now. We could certainly dive these floors. I'm not partial to doing that usually. Unless you're trying to turn count speedrun, or you're trying to maximize your score, something like that, it's generally not in your best interest to dive. It can be, especially in like Hell, the Hells, but usually you're just robbing yourself of experience. Fighting almost to 22. That's nice. And we've used up our manual. Alright. Let's portal projectile this lich to death. I guess I'll keep an ice blast on me. I don't see me using it, but why not? Berserk Spriggans are always a bit annoying. Oh, I think I can actually... I can Yaris him because of the... Yeah, I can. I believe it's because, not because of the Berserk, but the regeneration component of the Trog's Hand that he's using. Or maybe you can Yara's Berserk off. Either way, it works against those guys, so... Something to keep in mind. That sort of thing is always nice against Spriggans and the like, because they have a ton of evasion, and you're otherwise going to be swinging on them all the time. For a long time, that is. Okay, useless ring. Books we don't really want. I guess I'll memorize apportation. Could be needed, I guess, for the orb. We'll memorize summon butterflies. And why not? I'll memorize Lesser Beckoning. I could see a few narrow situations where I'd want to use that. And I'll even memorize Invisibility, why not? Probably won't use most of the things, but we have so many slots, and it's just like speculative. Why not, you know? Tabbing through entire ogre packs. Pretty easy when you're using longbows. Oh, it's Marjorie's. Marjorie and Friends. She's just a souped up Hell Knight. I mean, she can bolt a fire and fireball, but we have 3 pips of fire resistance, so we don't really care. She starts with some sort of dragon armor. Usually it was modeled back in the day, but now it's like acid, or I think she can start with fire dragon armor and a few other things. Let's heroism so we can take out this cacodemon faster. And of course we get... Gosh, we're pretty malmutated at this point. Oh, I should be targeting the Rust Devil. Whoops. Getting corroded is never fun. Okay. Not a lot to say about this. I mean, well, we can paralyze these dudes. We have RLX, so they're not going to cause us too many problems, but for normal characters, they are a pretty big pain. Just remember they have relatively low MR, so hexing them is the right choice in most situations. Just bearing in mind that if they're already on top of you, a 67, for example, % chance to succeed is not really good enough if you're taking a ton of damage from them already. So just bear that in mind. I'm going to eat a bunch of this stuff. Of course, I end up with horns. Let's quaff mutation and try to get rid of that. I think we got rid of it. Good. Cool. But yeah, if you're going to try to hex the shock wasps or whatever they're called... What? Oh, Spriggan Air Mage. had access to a summoning scroll. But yeah, if you're gonna fight spark wasps, just try to keep that in mind, that it's a good idea to try to do it one at a time, and hex, and you'll really save yourself some trouble. Still no Song of Slaying. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people hate on humans because they're so bland. Perfectly viable race, especially if you're doing something overpowered like longbows. But you could make it work pretty much the same with almost anything. I mean, very straightforward, nothing particularly special. I wouldn't recommend human as a race for newbies to play. They're very... With the fact that they're middle of the road, comes the fact that there's no particular benefit to using them. Definitely something like a centaur or a minotaur would be better. Probably minotaur for newbies because, well, it depends. If you're like new to the game but you're willing to put some real effort into learning how to play it, centaur is what you want to do. Because centaur is extremely rewarding if you're willing to just put a small amount of effort and brain power into realizing that, hey, I don't have to fight everything, or I don't have to fight everything right now, you know? Centaur rewards you for backing away from fights, or at least resetting fights with your tremendous speed. Whereas Minotaur rewards you for kind of stupidly tabbing into everything. Or rather, it doesn't punish you as much for that, since you come with the very, very powerful Horns retaliation. And of course, just incredible aptitudes in melee weapons that just lets you sort of go nuts with axes, which is what most people do. Still don't think axes are the best weapon. They're really good if you play suboptimally. And they're probably the most fun weapon, because there's something very satisfying about just clearing out an entire branch end with cleave. And if you've got the kind of defenses to support such a thing... Oh, we got Juggernaut. Okay, let's Heroism and Finesse. This isn't a big deal. We can pog right across the lake here. The lava lake. How frustrating would this be if you were the Juggernaut? Let's finish him off. Okay, he's dead. This is a little more stuff than I would like to fight at the same time, but we have Heroism and Finesse up, so I feel like we should roll with it. Oh, wow. Whoa, 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 whoa. I did not realize it was still 6% paralyzed from these guys. That's bad. If we had gotten paralyzed, we'd be dead. Let's swap on MR right now, putting us back to +4. That could have been very bad. 6%. You may not think it's much, but it might as well be 100%. I'll say that over and over. Gotta be more careful. For some reason I was under the impression that 3 pips were enough to bring that down to 0, but doesn't really make sense if you think about it, since Sphinxes are like a tomb monster. So 4 pips. I mean, 3 pips doesn't really fully protect you from anything, but, well, Orc Sorcerers, I guess. Canceling Portal Projectile to conserve mana, and also, that's just not necessary. So yeah, this is the kind of thing where if I was concerned about these guys, I would be hexing them as soon as I saw them on the screen, not waiting for them to get into melee with me. Our mutation set is nice, not particularly useful for us since it's like Ox attacks mostly, but the regen is really useful and the +2 AC is nice. And that's just from a single potion of mutation. What am I doing? I want to Yara's this guy. He made some noise with that trap, but honestly, I'm not too concerned. One of these days I may do a Zig, but it's not going to be on this character. I had the weirdest experience today. I went to this coffee shop, and this girl just kind of came up to me and started telling me about all of her Tinder adventures. It's very, unsolicited. It's really strange. Doesn't really have anything to do with Dungeon Crawl, but, well, there's not much to say about pressing O and hitting tab a lot on a longbow user. Oh, hey. One of these fun, blocky vaults full of things. Let's immolate this stuff and just kill it all. Really love doing this. It's just like, you know, it wasn't really necessary, but sometimes that will let you kill a huge amount of things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to kill, or you would have like a harder time. And so, I mean, I like it. We could have certainly killed all that if we wanted to, without the effort of, or without using the immolation scroll, but it's more fun this way. Okay, so I've verified it. You cannot Yara's Berserk things. It has to be, they have to be using Trog's Hand. I think we're probably coming up on, the Enchantress. And I say that because there's just a whole mess of Spriggans. I suppose it's possible it was just like a regular Spriggan pack. But, yeah, maybe it was just a Spriggan pack. I didn't see the Enchantress. Okay. Drop this Wand of Clouds. Actually, we'll drop the unidentified Wand of Clouds. Okay, I see an unfortunate thing, which is a couple of Caustic Strikes. I guess I'm going to open up with Resistance because I have 8 of them, and, you know, it's really something we want to have corrosion resistance against these guys. Then we'll immolate. Okay. And now we'll use Lamp of Fire. And we should be able to kill these pretty quickly. Caustic Strikes, of course, if you don't know, are one of, if not the nastiest things in the game. So if you see them and you don't have Resist Corrosion, you should be very wary. If you see them and you do have Resist Corrosion, you should still be wary because they do 36 damage, they move really fast, and they do acid damage when they hit you. So they can corrode you, which very quickly puts you in the own zone. So it's not a place you want to be. However, they are not poison resistant, so secret tech, you can you can poison cloud them, or poisonous vapors, or whatever that level 2 spell is. That's a fun one. I suppose you could try to Mephitic Cloud them, although I don't think that would work. Really? Maybe. In general, they're just a big pain. Our character is getting into the overpowered zone, though, so... Oh, more of them. Cool. Well, we'll drink another potion of resistance. We're going to make another pog. Good God, come on. Okay, this is cute. Teleport, or not teleport, but pog out of here. Heroism. We have 8 corrosion, so we want to be careful about what we're doing here. We'll finesse. I'm not really happy about fighting these guys with 8 corrosion, but we do have Ring of Robustness on, so effectively it's just like we're not wearing it. And we'll fight them one at a time. Not so bad with finesse up. I mean, we're essentially hasted. And we are in Depths 5, so we should be coming up on Zot soon. In fact, this is the vault. And we should be walking away from this with a 4-rune win soon. I see that the video here is only 21 minutes in, so you know what? I will just let it ride into Zot and into the Ascent. Let's see if it's as rough as the last Ascent I had, where I was teleport trapped into 7 orbs of fire at the same time. Okay, let's finish clearing this level. Jeez, this character is a beast. Any character that uses longbows will become pretty much this strong. I mean, you may not have the amount of cool resistances and stuff that I do, depending on how your luck is, but I don't know, it's pretty, it's gonna be pretty good. Don't want that amulet. Let's drop this Wand of Ice Blast. The specter of inventory management just keeps haunting me. Try playing a Nemelex character sometime if you really dig inventory management. Nemelex is the guy for you. Alright, just for fun, let's turn on summonings. And then, like, maybe with, like, Potion of Brilliance we can get Malign Gateway online. I doubt it. Also, I just remembered I need to take a quick pit stop into Crypts. Just really fast here. To memorize Blink. You never know. It could save us. There's the Ghetto Blink, where you use Fog, take a step in the direction that you want to go, and then use Blink. And that's called the Ghetto Controlled Blink, because, of course, you can only blink to a spot that's in your line of sight. So that gives you a pretty strong chance of going somewhere in the vicinity of where you'd like to go. Oh, come on. Vaults never fails to spawn a bunch of stuff while I'm walking through it. It can't really kill me, it just... Wow, we have 20 corrosion, maybe it can kill me. Not too worried. Yeah, but it can't, this stuff really isn't really standing any kind of danger, it's just slowing me down a bit. I'm trying to almost speed run through this, since it doesn't make for a very entertaining video, in my opinion, to show me killing popcorn. Okay. Here's the Blink book. We'll put that on a capital letter, because it's one of those spells that automatically happens when you cast it, rather than having a target. So if we fat finger it, we don't want to fat finger it. We don't want to magically, we don't want to blink in a situation where we don't intend to. Oh, cool. Well, you have blundered into a Zot trap. How cool are Zot traps? Answer, not very. Let's just take our licks here and walk towards the entrance and rest up. And then go back in and they'll be gone. Remove Zot traps win. Seriously, the worst thing in the game. For a brief while, I think it was not even for a whole version, maybe it was just in trunk. There were these things. Oh crap. We need to... God, we should have swapped on RC, or RN rather. Anyway, for a brief time, there were these things in the game, I think they were called shadow traps, and it was like... I mean, no offense to whoever put that in, but that was like the dumbest mechanic. It was just like shadow creatures right on top of you. And the funniest thing about them, yeah, and by the way, that's something that Zot traps can do. That's the thing that just happened to me, is I got shadow creatured right on top of me. But the thing about the shadow traps, or the shadow summoning traps, or whatever they were called, is they could just show up anywhere. They could show up on, like, Dungeon 5. So, like, as if auto-exploring wasn't a big enough crapshoot already, where you can auto-explore around a corner and then Mr. Two-Headed Ogre just wrecks you. For a brief while, wow, I stumbled into another Zot trap and got mutated with a very bad mutation. Let's take that off. Oh man, I guess I'll just... I can't deal with teleportitis. That's a really bad one. Jeez, stop giving me terrible mutation. Okay, there we go. We still have 5. That's enough to drink off anything that the Orbs of Fire do to us, hopefully. But yeah, imagine how much fun that was. Like, you're on dungeon floor like 5 or 6, and you know, you're like a deep elf fire elementalist or something, and like, whoops, I stepped on a shadow trap. Now I'm surrounded by like a centaur warrior and 3 centaurs, or whatever is appropriate. Wow, I have got to stop. I keep instinctually trying to cast, I keep instinctually trying to use my, what do you call it? I keep trying to use Pog, and then taking a step really fast. And it's getting me killed. Heroism, and I'll kill this guy. Gotta remember that my ability to escape from things is very, very, limited right now. But yeah, long story short, shadow traps are stupid, but even though those were taken out, Zot traps are still a thing, and I guess that the idea is that they're more appropriate because they only show up in like lair branches and branch ends and places where you would expect to have a certain amount of resources to deal with a surprise like that. I still think it's a bad mechanic. I mean, any mechanic that just kills you, I think is a bad mechanic. And I'm not saying that walking into a Zot trap always just kills you, but it has the capacity to for almost any character, actually. I mean, that may sound a little bit melodramatic, but that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. Let's see. So much inventory. We want to be very careful of getting berserked by the moths if anything else is around. Getting berserked is very bad for us as a bow user. I'm sure you can imagine why. As much as I'd like to be able to actually shoot the bow while enraged, unfortunately you cannot. Heroism, and we'll portal projectile, since this guy has friends. We'll cancel portal projectile and get right back into shooting. Of course, when these knights haste themselves, good opportunity to Yaros. So don't forget that's a thing you can do. Alright. Back to the action. Of course, we are going to fully explore this place, as I tend to do. Let's blink out of this miasma. He's had the rudeness to summon a Death Drake, one of the more annoying monsters in the game. But I will just portal projectile him to death. We've got 3 points of rot and 21 curing potions, so I'm just going to go ahead and clear that out. Since we have more curing potions than we know what to do with. See, I haven't decided what I'm going to play next. I know it's going to be a transmuter. I don't know what kind of transmuter. Probably a Felid, just because the difficulty on that is very high. And it's always good for bragging rights if you win a Felid, let alone a Felid transmuter. Like, transmuter is, in my opinion, the worst start. Even worse than Warper. I mean, Warper is actually pretty good. You get a lot of survival tools early in the game, if you know how to use them. But transmuter, you can just be screwed. I would say that Felid is actually a... That is the third Zot trap I blundered into. Is this... Maybe my hoo-hoo is just kind of stupid. Anyway, yeah, like Felid I would say is actually maybe one of the stronger transmuters just because it has the running ability. So you can at least get away. So if you're on level 1, provided you aren't stuck in a hallway, just bailing is a thing you can do. Whoa, let's not start tabbing. We've got some orbs of fire here. We got 2 of them, and I think that this is like a little placed vault, which is I think it might be that like a special vault that spawns like 3 or 4 orbs of fire. Very uncommon to see 2 orbs of fire in the same place below Zot 5. That tells me that something's going on here, maybe. Man, we have quite a nice mutation set. Would prefer not to lose it, but we're gonna probably have to. Let's fog. Move here. I'm not going to use haste. I'm going to use brilliance to see if I can... Oh yeah, we can malign gateway. Alright, let's heroism, finesse, take a step back, take 1 more step back, and now, with the help of our tentacle, which we've only been able to cast because of the brilliance potion, we will kill these 2 guys. Isn't that nice? We didn't need the tentacle to do this, but it certainly makes my life easier. Oh, awesome. Yeah, so that's a Chaos branded attack. So nothing says that orbs of fire are immune to paralysis. So that thing just got paralyzed from the AF Chaos attack. Isn't that awesome? And that would be the reason why I think Eldritch Tentacle is the best thing in the game. It does so much damage, and it's branded Chaos, so it can do really nasty things. And the usual downside of using Chaos, like, oh no, you're going to berserk your opponent or something like that, or haste your opponent, well, you don't necessarily have to deal with that with Eldritch Tentacle, because ideally you're not around when your tentacle is doing the work, so you don't have to deal with the bad side effects. If you watched my Octopode run, you'll see me using the tentacle and then just walking through a door and closing it, letting the tentacle do all the work for me. And that strategy just works on... I don't want to say anything in the game, but pretty much anything in the game, more or less. Oh, we got surrounded, so we'll just blink out of this. I cannot blink because I'm locked down by dimensional anchor, and I'm actually very corroded. So let's use feel and have some friends. I'm not going to use lamp because I have my buddies here. Let's use sack of spiders. And we have enough evocations now that we're getting nice spiders like the orb. Let's use sack again. Okay, good. Now we've evened this up a bit. Always good to be aware that you can get surrounded in here by these draconians very easily. And even if the draconians are usually easy for your character to take out, being surrounded by them kind of changes the game a bit. And few characters can take a full-strength Crystal Spear and laugh, and you have to know that some of these guys can cast Crystal Spear, so don't just assume that you can tab this stuff. You're going to have to do a little bit of thinking sometime in here, no matter how strong your character is. I believe that when I did that 1 hour Mibby speed run, I probably dived, or dove, I guess. I probably dove Zot, and there's like a good reason for that. It's that I didn't want to deal with most of the things in here. I guess I could be wrong. I don't really remember if I straight dove it or not, but I doubt that I cleared every Zot floor. In general, I don't like clearing every Zot floor. I'm doing it here because I know I can do it without much risk, and having more experience is nice, even if I am level 27. I mean, I'm actually almost in the castable range for Malign Gateway, so how about that? Wow, I guess I'll train translocations for a while. Plus, we've already put the legwork into clearing Zot. We're pretty much done. Whoa, did he have a... That is the second monster in the end game that had a scroll of summoning. Scrolls of summoning can be brutal here, by the way. One minute you think you're fighting like a couple draconians, the next you're fighting like 2 orbs of fire and a moth of wrath and a corn cob, or death cob, which slows you. Sure, you can just kill the thing, and that's the trick. You want to try to kill the thing that had the scroll, because that, of course, clears off the summoned units. Sometimes that's not always an option. I'll magic map here. Okay, let's do what I usually like to do and cordon off the actual vault with an exclusion. And I want to auto-explore the rest of the floor before I go in there. There's an added benefit to that. On many of the potential Zot 5s, there are teleporter pads that are sort of placed all over the place inside. So by spending a little bit of time, and you may even want to like do this and empty out the map, or forget the map and then auto explore again. Very clearly what's happening here, I don't think this dude was spawned by the level out here. I think that he got teleported out here by one of the traps. And so, by exploring a bit, you're basically clearing out the lungs. By the way, we're going to swap to the dagger because of MR, and we're going to swap our MR back on. And we're going to use beasts probably to kill this thing. Oh, he just has confuse. Okay, we'll swap our stuff back on. And we'll just arrow him to death. Not concerned about confuse, I can just potion that off. I don't want to get paralyzed. So yeah, I'm gonna like, as you can see, I'm exploring this. Yeah, he has paralyzed, so we gotta wear MR. Like, I'm exploring this, and I'm taking out stuff from inside the lungs while I do it. So it's to my credit. Box of beasts. I don't care if I'm wasting boxes. I am using them up very quickly. But these beasts are really good, so... is he resistant to electricity? Yeah, that's fine. Cool. So that was 2 ancient lynches that we cleared out. After my experience last game, I'm feeling a bit cautious. You know, after teleport trapping into 7 orbs of fire, just color me just a little bit cautious. Makes me want to kind of play like this, where I try to clear the lungs in this slow but effective way. Okay, we can take a step inside. That's a shifter, right? So we don't want him to blink us into where he's at. So let's wait for him out here. Now, I'll tell you what, I don't like the fact that there's a Zot trap here. Let's fight outside of the sight of that. Oh, a lich. We'll wear protection from magic, of course. Using box of beasts. I feel like I'm wasting my boxes a little bit, but I mean, if I want to be able to be positive he doesn't have... I mean, I could just wait for him to reveal what his book is, because on every single one so far except for one, I haven't really cared about what they had to cast. I really am only concerned if they've got paralyzed. But unless I'm willing to wait for the book to get revealed, I kind of have to blow these boxes to kill the lich sooner than later. So I'll portal projectile him. I suppose I could just start casting Malign Gateway. I might get Abyssed for my trouble, but not that big of a deal at this point. And I have 5 Potions of Brilliance, so that's 5 free casts at least. Okay, I don't know, I had a feeling there would be a trap there of some sort. I really, really wish that a Notella item had spawned. I probably should have checked some of these unidentified artifacts. There sure are a lot of them. But I don't care enough to... We're too deep in. I mean, if I was super concerned with playing purely 100% careful, I would be taking the walk around to every single artifact in the game that I haven't identified and finding Notella, because minus Tella is just really handy to wear on Zot 5 so that you don't get teleport trapped somewhere you don't want to be. Okay, we have Heroism and Finesse. Take a step here. I want to drink a Brilliance. Take a step, and yeah, we'll have the Gateway, and now we'll kill him with arrows. I don't think that Gateway can actually reach, unfortunately, but it may be fighting other things for me up there, so that's fine. We don't need the Gateway to kill this. We can do it ourselves with arrows. Cool. I miss silver ammunition. Looks like our Eldritch Tentacle killed something. Yeah, I think silver ammunition was a thing. There's still silver javelins, Hey, there's the teleport trap. Okay, the tentacle went indifferent, so we'll summon a new one. Our spell power is quite low, so they'll go indifferent relatively quickly, or hostile. But that's fine. And that's what your Potions of Brilliance are for. If you're not much of a caster, I mean, we didn't play this game as a caster, we played this game as like a bow dude. We're worshipping Okawaru. It's very rare to be a pure caster and worship Okawaru. But nonetheless, we're successfully casting Malign Gateway, a level 7 spell with 2 schools, because we have a stockpile of Brilliance Potions. So, bear that in mind. Those potions are not useless, even if you're not a main caster. Consider that you can Moonlight as a main caster during the end of your run, if you're so inclined. Do I care about this chainmail? I'll try it on. It's okay, but I don't want it. Okay. We'll just take out these Orb Guardians. Man, I wish I could use Pog. Should probably be heroisming here at least, but already in the fight. Okay, good, we heroism there. Let's get away from this Zot trap. Okay. Awesome. Let's Malign Gateway after using Brilliance again. Heroism, Finesse. Fog. Alright. And we'll Ghetto Blink. And we end up exactly where we want to be, which is behind our tentacle. Now we will Portal Projectile and fight this thing from behind. Which, by the way, if you don't know, Eldritch Tentacles are immune to fire, so he can't do much over there unless he starts walking to me. Unfortunately, the tentacle did haste it, but we killed it before it was a problem. Okay, I'm going to apport? I'm going to apport the orb here in a second, but first I want to haste. And then I want to apport it. Did that start the orb run? I don't know if it does. It used to if you simply tried to cast and failed. Okay, it got yoinked. Huh. Maybe they changed it and you can actually apport without, well, no, I lied. The Lords of Pandemonium are not amused, beware. Okay. So that does start the orb run if you try to apport it. You cannot apport the orb all the way to the staircase like you could once upon a time. I didn't want to walk into the cloud of seething chaos. Okay, let's just let the he can hit us while we're running away, so let's kill this. Come on. This we don't really care about hitting us, so we'll just walk away. It's like a speed 10 monster who can't really hurt us, so that's a speed 10 monster which can hurt us, but we're going to walk away from him as well. We have running boots, if you recall. So we really don't need to waste turns. On things that are not faster than us. Or at least as fast as us. Made it to dungeon with no panlords. Pretty good so far. I think with running I'm as fast as this thing. Looks like it. Hell Sentinel. Too bad we can't pog on the orb run. Let's fog instead. Yeah, he started using his fun ability of Hellfire. But we get away. And we continue walking. Shadow Fiend. Fog again. And we're gonna haste, and we're gonna juke him by going around. He should be roughly here by now, I think, unless I've miscounted. Okay, good. And we just totally juke him. Looks like I'm gonna have to kill this Orb Guardian. Oh man, there's two. Let's clouds him. Oh, this is annoying. Okay. And up we go. Probably could have handled that a little bit better. Right to the staircase, so we'll take it. And again. Okay, we've got the Seraph here. We're so inundated with haste, we're just going to drink another one, and we're going to walk away from this. We say no thanks to the Seraph. No need to fight this stuff. This is the end of the game, so you don't get extra points for killing a bunch of nonsense on the orb run. I guess technically you do, actually. You get, like, I believe experience is worth a very small amount of points, but you know what? I'm not too concerned with that. I just like to win. And we do. So that was a hoo-hoo. That's my demonstration of longbows being absurdly powerful. I'm certain that you'll see me using longbows again on something that doesn't even start with them, just because they're so good. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, next time I'll be doing some sort of transmuter. And yeah, until then, I'm signing out.